The forests of Zalvera were not meant for human feet. The crystalline trees hummed with electromagnetic frequencies that disoriented most carbon-based life forms, and the violet moss released spores that could paralyze a full-grown Krather warrior. Yet Parker moved through them with the practiced ease of someone who had nowhere else to go. He was 17, standard years old, though the hardship etched into his face made him look older. His clothes were patched and repatched, his boots held together more by willpower than thread. Parker had been living in these woods for 3 months now, ever since the human colony transport had left without him. A clerical error, they said. An oversight. He was just one homeless boy on a planet where humans were barely tolerated guests. The sound reached him first, a low, rumbling growl that vibrated through his chest. Parker froze, his hand instinctively moving to the makeshift knife at his belt. Then came the voice, speaking in perfect galactic standard, though strained with pain. "If you've come to mock me further, get on with it." Parker crept forward, pushing aside the luminescent fronds, and stopped dead in his tracks. A dragon lay bound against one of the massive crystal trees. Not the mythical creatures from Earth's ancient stories, but close enough a draconian diplomat, nearly 3 meters tall, even in her current prone position, with scales that shimmered like oil on water. Her wings, magnificent even in captivity, were pinned awkwardly beneath thick energy cables that glowed an angry red. More cables wrapped around her torso, legs, and snout, clearly designed to cause maximum discomfort without killing. Her golden eyes fixed on Parker with a mixture of surprise and resignation. A human child. How disappointing. "I'm not a child," Parker said automatically, then caught himself. "What happened to you?" The dragon, he could see the diplomatic insignia burned into her shoulder scales, let out a bitter laugh that came out as smoke. "Political rivals. The Zenthari Consortium didn't appreciate my proposal for human inclusion in the Galactic Trade Accords. They decided a missing diplomat would send a clearer message than a living one who kept advocating for your species." Parker felt his stomach tighten. He knew about the trade accords. Every human in the colony knew. It was their only chance at legitimacy, at being seen as more than squatters on the fringes of civilized space. "How long have you been here?" 2 days. Perhaps 3. Time becomes ... fluid when one is dying. You're dying? The cables are energy drains. They're slowly cooking me from the inside. Her voice was matter-of-fact, almost casual. Even if someone found me, no species would risk political consequences by freeing me. The Zenthari control too much of the galactic economy. I made my choice. I accepted the risks. Parker stood there, his mind racing. Every survival instinct he'd honed over months of living rough screamed at him to walk away. Getting involved in galactic politics? That was how nobodies stayed nobodies or worse, became corpses. But he'd heard the dragon's words. Advocating for your species. Someone had actually been fighting for humans. For people like him. "The cables," Parker said, moving closer. "Are they shielded?" The dragon's eyes widened slightly. "Boy, don't be foolish. If you touch them, they'll overload and kill you instantly. Your species' electrical resistance is laughably weak, I know." Parker was already examining the connection points where the cables met the tree. "But that's not what I'm planning." He'd learned a lot living in these forests. The crystalline trees weren't just beautiful. They were massive energy capacitors, part of Zalvera's unique ecosystem. The locals avoided them during electrical storms because they could discharge violently. Parker pulled out his knife and began stripping vine from a nearby plant, quickly braiding it into a rough cord. The dragon watched in silence as he worked, her expression unreadable. "What is your name, boy?" "Parker. I am Ambassador Eva of the Draconian Imperium." She paused. "Parker, whatever you're planning, I'm not leaving you here?" The simple statement hung in the air between them. Ava's eyes reflected something Parker had rarely seen directed at a human: respect. Parker climbed the crystal tree, his makeshift rope secured around his waist. The electromagnetic hum grew stronger, making his teeth ache and his vision blur. At the connection point, he could see how the Xanthari had rigged it a crude but effective energy loop that would drain Eva while feeding power back into itself. "When I cut this," Parker called down, "the tree's going to discharge. Get ready? Parker, you'll be killed." "Maybe." He positioned his knife. "But I've got nothing to lose, and you are fighting for people who do." He severed the main cable dot. The world became light and sound and pain. The tree released its stored energy in a catastrophic surge that blew Parker clear off the trunk. He hit the ground hard, smoke rising from his hands, his heart stuttering in his chest. Through blurred vision, he saw Eva rise. The remaining cables, their power source cut, fell away like dead snakes. She was magnificent, terrifying, beautiful, everything legends said dragons should be. She could have left. Should have left. Getting to safety, to medical treatment, to her political allies would be the logical choice. Instead, Ava's massive form bent over Parker's broken body. Her clawed hand, gentle despite its size, rested on his chest. Foolish, brave child. Warm energy flowed into him, not the violent electrical surge, but something older, something that smelled like cinnamon and felt like sunlight. Draconian healing fire, he realized dimly. She was using her own depleted strength to save him. Why? Parker managed to whisper. Ava's golden eyes met his. "Because you showed me what humanity truly is. Not the desperate refugees the galaxy sees, but people who will sacrifice everything for what's right. When I return to the Galactic Council, I will tell them this story. I will tell them about Parker, who had every reason to walk away and chose mercy instead." She lifted him carefully, wings spreading wide. "And I will make them understand. Any species that produces souls like yours deserves not just inclusion in our accords, but a seat at the table where we decide the galaxy's future." As they rose above the crystal forest, Parker felt consciousness slipping away. But he smiled, because for the first time since being abandoned on Zalvera, he wasn't nobody. He was proof that humanity deserved to be seen. And sometimes that was enough.